The Toad King. Storytime with Rabeya and Nijhum. Once upon a time, there was a young princess who lived with her father in the castle in the middle of the forest. She was a delightful little girl, but very spoiled. She loved playing near the well with a golden ball which her father had given her. One day, the lovely ball fell right into the well. Suddenly, up hopped an ugly toad wearing a crown. He told the little princess that he would bring back her ball, but in return she must promise to let him eat, drink, and stay with her. The little girl agreed at once. She had just one thought in her head, to find her precious toy. But when the toad had brought back the ball, the little princess forgot all about her promise and scampered off. She did not think about the toad and the well anymore, nor of the silly bargain she had struck with him. In fact, she had almost forgotten the whole incident and was about to sit down at the dinner table when she heard a knocking at the door. The princess was very surprised indeed to find herself face to face with the toad. "Let me in," croaked the toad. "I have come to claim my reward." But the princess took no notice and slapped the door shut. "What's all this noise?" asked the prince's father. She was very embarrassed at first, but she told her father all that had happened. "You have made a promise. It doesn't matter with whom. You must honor your promise, whatever the cost," said the king. Although he often gave in to the little princess, the king was also very wise and wanted his daughter to have a good education. Suddenly, they heard another knock at the door. "Oh, please, please don't make me, please," begged the princess. But the king, who would usually have given in to her wishes, remained adamant this time. The little girl let the toad in and, overcoming her disgust, she let the toad share her supper. With a heavy heart, she allowed the toad to eat off her own plate and drink from her glass. The strangest thing was that the toad spoke so beautifully and had such lovely manners that it was easy to forget his ugly appearance. In spite of this, when it came to bedtime, the little princess was terrified at the thought of sharing a room with her guest. In vain, she begged her father, but the king insisted that she should keep her promise to the toad. Summoning up all her courage, she lifted the slimy toad and took him up to her bedroom. The little princess climbed into her bed. The toad sat sadly where she had left him on her bedside table and sighed. Then he told her how much he loved her. He would die if she rejected him. She was so touched by his eloquent speech that she reached out to pat him on the head. Suddenly, a very strange thing happened. There was a puff of smoke, and the creature suddenly turned into a handsome prince who smiled and kissed her hand. "Oh, thank you," said the prince. "You have done me a great service. Only a true princess who would take pity on me could release me from the spell of the wicked witch." He went on, "I fell in love with you the moment I saw you playing near the well. Will you marry me?" The princess joyfully accepted, and from that day on, she stopped making empty promises. She was kind to even the humblest of her subjects and lived happily ever after with her prince.